and prepare the and prepare.
Hello, sir. We lost you there, sir.
Because
hello. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, you are back now. We lost you for a while.
Yeah, sorry, I'm running on data here because light is gone. So let me make it brief. So as I was saying, cybersecurity is really running the world now. And that is why as a school, we want to take advantage of that and place our students, our graduates at the forefront. And that is why we are partnering with Think Cyber Nigeria to make sure that we have a grip of this important area of study. So I want to welcome you to this meeting, and I pray that God will prosper our efforts. We make efforts to reach out. Thank you very much.
Okay, I will hit the ball straight rolling. On the panel, we have Okwanemi Oniagbi Wazoo. He works for Finland. Now, for the parents who are here, Wazoo is actually an infrastructure vendor when it comes to cybersecurity. He was able to build his career from Nigeria. He started as an intern, coincidentally with CyberSoc Africa, and he has been able to build an admirable career. He's working currently from Europe. Coincidentally, we have Yaniv Ovid, who is actually the operations chief technical officer for CyberSoc Africa, and actually he will be telling us more about his career path. So, Mr. Yaniv Ovid, please, can you briefly describe your career path from the beginning to your current role? Please enumerate your vast experience within the Nigerian.
Yes, you wanted to take
Nigerian and African managed security service terrain.
Yes, so in general, we're working for long in the last 8 and 9 years in Nigeria, and so what we found that we need to, when we start to look in the market and to look for experienced people to work, we found we have few lackings. By the way, this lacks is all around the globe. It's not something that, especially in Nigeria, all around the globe, we are short in cybersecurity experienced people. But when I came to Nigeria, we started to really to research what is the reason we are really short, and there is a few kind of reason. But I actually went from university to university. I visited a few universities that I had access to, and most likely what we found that there is no alignment between the academical knowledge to the specific or to the market needs. Okay, now it's not something again specific to Nigeria. It's all around the globe. There is always kind of gap between the academic knowledge to the real need in the market, because the real need.
Hello. We lost him there.
He growing a little bit more slowly than the technology or the market. So what we really found, that hands-on, this is actually the key of making if you have a student, the key to from academic knowledge, theoretical knowledge to the real need in the market is about the hands-on. Okay, hands-on was the key. What we found after we did a huge research is the hands-on. So university cannot provide hands-on, they are limited in the past to provide a hands-on, because you need to create your own lab. It's required very, very difficult to build your own lab, and you need to know which technology in the market, and always do top. It's not the academic, let's say, core things to solve. Actually, when we find out that instead of each university will build their own lab and invest so much time, effort, the best way as technology also going forward is to use some kind of simulator, because simulator simulate the real world, and these simulators also, they are changing and they are improving themselves based on the market need. So if I'm looking on all my years research between what is the gap between the academic world to the real business need world, was the hands-on. And the hands-on today can be solved by using a simulator platform. Simulator platform really demonstrate the real life scenario. When we take a student after he did a simulator walk and he really put his own effort, you will see the difference between he's not coming only with the theoretical knowledge, you also understand the bits and bytes of the need of the market. So this is for me, like what I see in the last few years, and I'll just share my inputs. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yaniv. Witz is actually the CTO for those who are just coming in, CyberSoc Africa. For in case you don't know, CyberSoc Africa is a managed security service provider. There are only about 2 of them in the whole of Africa. The other one is Cyberdoma. They're one of the biggest. They manage from law enforcement agency to government and banks in Nigeria, treating real-life cybersecurity issues. So we are privileged to have a dinosaur within the sector here to us to advise parents on what you need to equip your children with as they leave the university. Directly or indirectly, I will just state some facts here. 500 students graduate every year. Now, there is a limited space set for them to employ them. Now, the ones who are properly equipped get the job. Now, that is actually why we looked for how can we, and the way, like I said, it's not only peculiar to Nigeria, everywhere in the world. Now, America is actually addressing this particular solution by setting up what cybersecurity clinic in universities. That is why we came out to start partnering with specific universities across Africa, in which what Babcock University is the first. Now, Think Cyber is actually a global powerhouse when it comes to cybersecurity training with the use of a simulator, which you get to see just in a jiffy. So we have the other speaker here is a senior engineer who has worked with Wazoo, who is currently working with Wazoo, and he actually works from Finland. He started his career like an intern, coincidentally with CyberSoc, and currently is working from Europe. Mr. Okwenime Oniagbi, can you tell us about your career from onset up till now? And you can so that we can actually hear and share about your career path.
Okay, thank you very much. So like you mentioned, I started my career with CyberSoc Africa. So it's really awesome to see my boss, yeah, Yaniv Ovitz, as part of this. So this is like a 360 moment for me actually, because I started my career under CyberSoc, in CyberSoc and under Yaniv. And I worked closely with him on like a few projects and learned a lot from him. So yeah, this is a very a very great moment for me. Before I joined CyberSoc, actually, I studied cybersecurity in school, FUT Mina. And but like Yaniva stated, school education does not prepare you completely for the real world. The real world experiences, real world scenarios, real world everything in the real world basically is a bit different from what you're taught in school. A lot of knowledge, a lot of research knowledge. And then when I came out, I started as an intern in CyberSoc, and I learned a lot of things. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things I knew theoretically, the first time I was applying them was in CyberSoc Africa, because as part of the internship, we had access to a lot of equipment, a lot of labs, a lot of tools to use. And using those tools, I began to connect the theory I knew in my head to actual practical experiences. And that really helped me become a better cybersecurity analyst, understand the security landscape better. I was lucky to work across like a lot of teams in CyberSoc Africa. I started as a red teamer. Basically, we're doing a lot of like red team stuff, a lot of penetration testing and vulnerability assessments. But afterwards, I moved to the blue team, which like involves a lot of like security analysis and incident response. And that was also another really, really, really good thing in CyberSoc Africa, because I was able to move across teams and pick various skills here and there. And afterwards, I moved on to work in banks in Nigeria, like Fidelity Bank. And afterwards, now I'm in Finland and I'm working in Wazoo. And Wazoo is actually like an international organization. It's an actual SIM product. Just to give context, it's sort of like a place for security events, because one of the things that cybersecurity analysts do is that we analyze security events to see what attackers are doing. As a matter of fact, there's a saying in cybersec that attackers are never asleep. So they are always trying to attack, always trying to cause harm to security, to our data, to our information. And one of the things that WASU does is like trying to have a place where you can actually view that security incident data, analyze it, respond to it, and ensure that attackers do not compromise user data. So I would say really in my career, one of the things that has been most important is hands-on experience. You cannot substitute hands-on experience for any other thing. Like there are so many cybersecurity books, there are so many cybersecurity courses. As a matter of fact, I make it a point of notion to take courses that are actually practical in nature, because there's no way you can say it. Anybody who's in cybersecurity will tell you this for a fact, that one of the most important things you can get is hands-on experience. And however that comes, sometimes it might be you getting a job, sometimes it might be through a course you take, or but the course has to have some sort of like scenario-based exercises that sort of give you a good foundation for you to be able to practice well in the real world. So yeah, I think I've been able to cover a lot.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Okwenim Uniag. Let me put on my camera. So for the records, this is the first time I'm seeing his face. I don't know what it looks like. He just turned on his camera, and I did not ask to actually see his face because I felt it's his own policy. I met Okwenime online in actually a Google escalation team where we're escalating issues towards WASU to actually resolve. So it was one who attended to the escalation. That is actually how we started chatting on LinkedIn, and I invited him to come and share his success story. I was surprised to see a Nigerian in the midst of many Europeans treating those technical escalations. Now, for those who are just coming in, we're having a real life, how will I put it, practical session with industry dinosaurs and experts, trying to advise parents the right time to actually expose your children in the university to technical training, world-class training, so that they can be ahead of their peers and within a short while grow very fast. It's every parent's joy that within a short time, your son has actually positioned himself in a sector, and cybersecurity will be trending in the next 3 decades. No matter the technology, there will be a need for security in the landscape. So one more time, I want to say a big thank you to Professor Sunday Idowu, because for anything to see the light of day, we have tried to actually approach lots of the universities, and there was a lot of bottleneck. But Professor Sunday Idowu saw the light in actually ensuring that we build a pipeline. When I sold the idea of what United States of America is doing, building cybersecurity clinics to actually fill the gap. This gap is not only, he actually welcomed it, and the school administration has been so actually very, very, very responsive. It has a faith-based university. They saw the light and they actually embraced it. So we have moved straight to in building technical capacity, because the questions keep revolving around each other. What we've been able to ascertain that in terms of growth, there is technical hands-on cannot be rolled out. Now, the question is this. Mr. Yaniv Ovid is actually well-positioned and very senior colleague to me, and he actually at the par of my superiors I report to in Israel. So please, can you tell us, in terms of building capacity of your team, which tool have you been using, and how have you been able to manage the shortage gap? Do you train them? Do you retain them? How is the terrain like?
Yeah, so of course, what we found with the time, so we're doing like an internship program around twice a year, every year. In the last 8 years, we're talking about more than 16 batches of people, and with the time we learn a lot of things and we improve even ourselves. What we found is almost you can train almost any person. Almost any person can be trained. Okay, the question we're always asking ourselves is how we can make it faster. Okay, because in the end of the day, we are talking about the business industry. Time is money, and time is the factor. Okay, so if someone, let's assume I'm sharing this information with you guys because, you know, we all of us understand the same things. The example, amount of requests we are getting from universities, IT, industrial training, or NYC people, the amount of number is almost it's very huge number of guys, and I wish I can take all of them and give them, but in the reality, it's not possible in the business industry. It's not possible because if you want to mentor a person, so let's assume he joined to a team, he can sit next to the team, but now, yes, it will take him around between 6 to 9 months just to catch up and understand what is the need. So
Sorry, please, can you mute yourself?
Okay, so we always thought about how we can shorten this time, because the time is the key factor here. I want the same person, but instead of 9 months, I want to do it in 3 months or even less. So with this kind of thing, we came with some kind of idea. Okay, let's start with the basic things. The basic things is we're talking about IT, not cybersecurity, even IT. Okay, after the person will have a IT experience, then we move to cybersecurity basic. Okay, after cybersecurity basic, now there is a market needs. Ope here mentions that he is working for Wazoo. Wazoo is one of the companies in SIM, but there is more companies, IBA, Microsoft, and so on and so on. And each business industry using different technology. Each bank using different technology, each industry organization, and so on and so on. So in this time, we can, okay, we need to teach the specific technology to the specific need in the market. And this is, so it will be very difficult and very, will require so much resource to bid one by one for each technology. So with these terms, we came to the idea of, let's use in a simulator. Okay, simulator simulate the real life day-to-day of the person. So after all the basic knowledge we are transferred to our students, the next one is a simulator, a real environment of facing a real environment, facing a real challenges. So simulators always coming in the last phase of after the student acquire knowledge. Then a simulator face them with the real time scenarios, and then they're actually ready to actually jump to the deep water and actually start to work in kind of environment. So this is the process we find that is actually shorten the time between how we can grow these students, and he can actually start and give our value to the business market. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Yanivovich. I'll actually break this down in terms of business sense. Now, a business actually is already moving. There is a momentum with the technical team. Now, most of the time, because we've had these particular issues cross-board with Huawei, most of the time, technical people prefer somebody who already knows the technology. He comes into the team, he plugs and play, so that it doesn't drag the technical strength backward. So what he's trying to say that they find it very hard to actually pitch on how the branch part will train across different technology, because cybersecurity is what? Vendor agnostic. So they need to actually equip these people with those broad level of technology so that they can actually be ready from day one, ready to actually meet the quality and the height of their technical service delivery. So they have to incorporate a simulator to actually help the students grow to that stage. That is the same simulator training we are introducing to the students at this particular stage. Now, the next thing he said is that the volume of the requests they normally get for training, being that there are only 2 cybersecurity MSSP currently in Nigeria, is too much and they cannot train everybody. While there are lots of demand, now there is a shortage of training, and simulator gives a kind of answer to everybody. So that actually, okay, so that is actually why what is trying to explain. I'll actually move briefly. So for those who are just joining, please, we are actually having a parents meetup session with Babcock University on the need to actually expose the children to world-class technology on time, so that they can be ahead. It's every student's joy for the student to actually have moved very far within a short time. Let's say 5 years after graduation, he's already becoming a senior engineer. Mr. Okwenime Oniagbi, I'm going to ask you a very difficult question. I don't mind. You can just give us a range. Now, this particular hands-on that you have, if you have had opportunities to them while you are still in school, how would it have affected your career growth? Like when you are a student, you had access to a simulator, all this coupled with your theoretical knowledge, would you have actually gone very far, or how would it have affected your growth?
So that's a very good question. And I'm going to start by giving a sort of example. So in cybersecurity, when you're learning it, there's a need to have different operating systems. There's a need to have different tools installed on those operating systems. And usually every computer at the base level usually has one operating system. And in Nigeria, most times it's Windows. So when I was learning cybersecurity, I had to install something like Kali Linux. I had to install like Ubuntu. So I had to install like several operating systems on one machine. And to do that, you need a virtual machine. Or basically you need virtual machines, right? Now the problem is I was a student working as a student with my laptop that had like 4 gig RAM. So basically I could not install as many operating systems as I want. So that means sometimes I'll have just 2 operating systems working side by side. Sometimes it will crash my system and I'll not be able to finish what I'm doing. So that's how difficult it is to learn in cybersecurity. Now, imagine you have a scenario-based sort of system whereby I don't have to install anything. I can just maybe log onto a website or log onto a platform, and everything is being run like on the server side for me. And all I just need to do is to learn as I go on. Trust me, that would have really, really helped my career, because I wouldn't have had to, suffer so many system crashes. And as a matter of fact, there were things I learned later in my career that I would have learned earlier if I actually had access to such scenario-based simulations. Like I can't stress it enough, really. Hands-on experience is very, very important for a cybersecurity career, and simulators are one way to have that sort of hands-on experience whereby you can touch something and see if it spoils, in quotes. In my career, I've spoiled a lot of things in my lab, but it doesn't affect anybody. But imagine me spoiling something in production environments where like there's user data, there's customer data, like that's going to cause a huge loss. So that's why it's good to, in quotes, spoil things in the lab, in the simulator environment, so that using that you can learn what to do and what not to do.
Okay, we move on to the last question. Mr. Janivovic, just in a summary, you've used Cyber Arena to train people. You understand the cybersecurity terrain. Now, the people you train with Cyber Arena, do they actually come out fully baked and ready to plug and play?
Yeah, so when we talk about training, is I can even give a little bit even more. We are not just training our own team and our own people. This is obvious, but we also have our own customers that also ask from us, please build me in my own capacity or help me to build my own capacity. I can tell you that today I know we are covering or today we are doing example. One of the projects we are doing is the finance emergency response team. This is a government agency that responsible to coordinate with all the finance industry to one central place. Okay, this is owned by all the banks in the country, Nigeria, and Central Bank of Nigeria. Okay, so even these projects, they need their own people. Okay, these people are government officials, but they need to build their own capacity and continue to build things. So I can even share with you that in order to do so in a short time and really quick, we're using this kind of similar technology. We're using Think Cyber technology to help the customer build his own capacity building. Instead of us investing so much time and so on, we decided to let's give them the Think Cyber platform so they can build their own capacity by themselves, and they will be less dependent in others. So this is like just one example of how to use this kind of platform. allow us again to show the time of between the theoretical knowledge to actually de facto bringing value to the business.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yanivovitz. I'll repeat again for those who are just coming in. We're talking to a dinosaur in the cybersecurity sector. When it comes to cybersecurity across Africa, they manage across the bank, governments, all you can hear him talk about operation. So they use our platform to train people who are already working. Now, we saw a need that we could actually catch these guys young while they're in school, expose them to cyber simulator training so that we shorten the skill gap need within the operation sector, which, as you can see, they have been challenged to actually bring these people up to speed. So he has been actually elucidating and enumerating on what are the key needs of actually getting ahead in cybersecurity training. So we have here again with us Mr. Okwenime Oneadu, who actually came in as an intern in CyberSoc Africa, worked for a couple of times, and he has gone ahead to actually start working for Wazoo in Finland. So I will ask a question. In terms of remuneration, Nigeria and Europe, so that the parents can see how lucrative and how viable the profession is. How do you think it is? You are in Europe now, compared to what you were here in Nigeria. Okay, sorry. Mr. Yaniv will actually be leaving us now. He wants to say one or two things. Thanks for actually being around. He's a very busy person. We really appreciate his time here, and actually he wants to tell us one or two things, recommending cyber simulator training. So, Mr. Yaniv, how would you recommend this cyber simulator training to parents in Babcock University as a foundation to grow their career in SciSec?
Yeah, so I think as we discussed till now, unfortunately, all the time I say, how many graduated students from university, but in the reality they cannot find jobs. So yeah, there is the gap between how many students every year was releasing to the market, but there is it's not aligned with these students actually getting a real good high-level job. Okay, now if you're talking about cybersecurity, if you ask me today, I'm from the business, I'm day to day with all the banks, all the finance industry, and so on and so on. The need for cybersecurity is like there is almost unlimited. And add to it all the Japa syndrome and people, good people leaving the country and so on. So there's always a demand. So there is students releasing to the market. There is a demand, but the gap between them is really huge. And I think this is the key. How these kind of students can really find in a short time can find a really work, and from this work they can develop themselves and move from one profession to another and so on. I think this is what we're talking about. How to bridge this gap between both of them, and we really believe that we have really high talent young people in Nigeria, and there is just a very simple way to make them come to bring value to the market and so on. So this is for me. I really must to close. Okay, so I really thank you, and any kind of question.
Thank you for coming around, Mr. Yaniv. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So we just moved to Mr. Okwenime. We have Mr. Rombuskela from Israel just joining in. He's actually our president international partnership here in Nigeria. In Nigeria. Mr. Ron, you just want to say something briefly?
Yes, I want to say thank you very much for having me on the call. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, but it's a little bit of hectic time currently. I'm very honored to have the parents of the Babcock University with us today. I think the partnerships between Think Cyber Nigeria and Babcock is something which is great. We have the other talents, the students. I think going forward, you'll find out exactly what Yaniv said, that there's an extreme demand, and with our training, with hands-on, the actual cyber that goes on, the cyber attacks, etc. With us, you will be able to your children will be able to enter the market, and the demand is incredible. As Icom, I don't know if you mentioned, but we have Think Cyber in Singapore, and they're up to 100% of their students are getting jobs. So, and we're also doing incredibly well. So I'd like to say thank you again for having me. Icam, you're doing a great job, and together with Babcock, I'm sure that that we can also show you parents that your students, your children, can also have an incredible career. And as they say, instead of going the regular way and applying for a job and saying, "Why don't you have any experience?" Here it's the other way around. Here's where, "Why didn't you come to us earlier? We were waiting for you." And again, I want to say thank you very much for having me. If you have any questions, I'm always open to answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Rombuskela. I will just move straight to Mr. Okwenime Oniagbe. Now, here we've been able to ascertain that there is a need for what technical acquisition, hands-on experience via the simulator. It gives you all you need. Now, let's talk about getting the job, how lucrative it is, and how much are you paid. So I don't know, Mr. Okwenime, I know it's a personal question, but you can just share around figures. I know we deployed some people to the bank to work recently, and they trained with us. Their salary is about 7.8 million per annum. That's about 650,000 or 700,000, which is way below our standard. We try to do $1,500 annually after training, sorry, monthly after training them. Now, they come in as senior application and data security personnel. I can't remember I think one is working as a threat analyst and a cybersecurity threat analyst and risk management. So, Mr. Okwenime, you can share the range of remuneration Nigeria across Europe. You have actually tested both sides of the coin.
Okay, so before I talk about the salary range, I just want to, because you mentioned something in your question, but I don't know if you didn't ask it directly, but I think it's also important to take note of it. You mentioned how it is necessary for to have practical experience before you get into the cybersecurity field or start the career fully. And I just want to mention that usually in job interviews, in cybersecurity job interviews that I've been part of, you are usually asked, what is your experience with this particular tool? Have you done this before? Like, nobody asks you about your education or about where, like, those questions are usually like at the beginning. Oh, introduce yourself. Where did you go to school? But usually the questions are focused more on. Sorry, there's some noise.
I'm meeting them now. You can go ahead.
Okay.
Apologies for that.
Oh, no problem. So usually those questions are focused more on what have you done? And for somebody who's just leaving school, you cannot say what you have done using school examples. So it is very important for you to say, oh, I have done this. I've used this particular platform to do this, and this. That puts you ahead of the competition by 10 times fold, because like I said, practical experience is valued more than theoretical knowledge in the cybersecurity career. Now, when it comes to remuneration, I would say, like you mentioned, you said about 7.8 million naira, right? Yeah, remuneration in Nigeria per annum, yeah. So remuneration in Nigeria is quite, as expected, is less than in Europe. But I would say one thing about remuneration in Nigeria is that there is a growth. How will I put this now? A growth. With a 7.8 million naira per annum, and that can easily quickly grow to about 12 million naira per annum. Like, I've known people who within 2 years have more than doubled their earning, their salary, basically, because of promotions, or maybe they switched jobs and got a higher paying job. So that's one thing about remuneration in Nigeria. In Europe, however, I don't know what the figure will be in naira, but usually the salary ranges from, like, a junior role will get you about 3,000 euros, and that would, and 3,000 euros per annum. Sorry, 3,000 euros per month. To put that in perspective, sorry, 3,000 euros per month, which I think with today's rate is about maybe 3 million naira, and that would range from about 3,000 euros per month to about, say, 6.5. I think the highest I've seen is about maybe 7,000 euros per month. And
as a junior role, you said as a junior role, right?
No. Junior role, 3,000. It starts at about 3,000 euros per month. But to senior roles, at the highest I've seen is maybe like 6,500 euros per month. And of course, we can convert that to Naira and see that, yeah, it's quite. And the thing about it, I don't think it's really more about, well, money is important. Money has all things, but it's not just about the money. The thing about it is that there's also a scarcity of skilled people, especially in Europe. Like there was a research done last year, for last year, and apparently there's a projected scarcity for the next 10 years in Europe for cybersecurity personnel. So, and one of the things I keep seeing is that they don't say there's a scarcity of people, there's a scarcity of skill. There are two different things. There can be scarcity of people, there can be scarcity of skill, but there are a lot of people who are applying for jobs, but they're like, you're not good enough. We want somebody who has this skill, this skill, this skill. So that's really, there's a skill shortage, not a people shortage. There are a lot of people in the world today, but there are not enough people with the required skills that can do the things that companies are expecting. And I think that's also in Nigeria, as Yanniv mentioned earlier. A lot of people like me also have left Nigeria and moved abroad, and that creates a hole that needs to be filled also in Nigeria. So basically, I would say it's all-round skill shortage, and as much as you can have enough skills, it's going to get you out of the competition way faster.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Okwenime Uniagbi. I would like to actually, the last question is actually hits the nail in the head so that we go into the nitty-gritty. What we do here, he is actually working in the sector. I can remember you saying you move from the red team to the blue team. Now, what we do in our training, we ensure that they pass through 3 levels of certification in the advanced entry level. That's penetration testing, SOC analyst, and Windows forensics. Now, armed with those 3 skill sets, what do you think their chances will be when they actually enter the labor market? Taking into cognizance, we move them from 0 to hero. They actually move, they actually pass through a detailed penetration testing lab course, a detailed SOC analyst lab course, they move in threat hunting, then threat incidents. They are exposed to tools like ELK, Splunk, SNOT, and the rest of them. Hello, Mr. Onia. I hope you are still with us. Are you here?
Yes, okay. I can hear you.
For a while, I lost you. I lost your visual. So what do you think coming up with this? And we have tons of questions and our simulations. I'm sure I've given you access to view what we do. And Mr. Yanniv actually uses our platform to train his team. So what do you think their chances are when they leave university? You know, I will just try to actually talk about my history a little. I came in from a humble background, and I had to stay back in school to play piano for a church to actually, so that I can meet up. I wanted to read medicine. I could not read medicine, so I wasted some like 1 or 2 years. Then I moved into engineering. So I waited back in church to play piano. So I was actually always in school. So it was in my 400 level. Somebody sent me for a graduate training program. So that graduate training program, while I was in year 5, I became a CCNA. When I go back to final year, I was working for Schlumberger in an IP solution. By the time I actually finished, I was already with Total on a Total project, Akpo project that sailed. So using that advantage, while my mates were actually graduating, they are still trying to find their, I was already a CCNP at graduation. While they were trying to do their NYC, I was already on the platform, one FPSO coming in from South Korea, getting hands-on. So we are looking at replicating such success story in what? Cybersecurity. So that is why we bring in people who are already expert. Last week, we had the head of data application security from Fourth Bank and somebody who actually works in data science in UK. He was a colleague in the, today we have 2 core cybersecurity dinosaurs. One is in Finland working for a vendor called Wazoo, it's an international vendor. So they are actually the manufacturer cybersecurity, security and CM. Then while Ovid Yanniv is actually a CTO in one of the biggest managed cyber security service provider in Africa, which Okwenime worked before he actually, that's where he did his intern. So armed with this particular 3 skill sets and certification, do you think they will hit the ground running from day 1 when they leave university?
Yeah, my answer to that is going to be absolutely. One of the reasons why I had to do an internship was because I didn't have enough practical knowledge to get to be able to get like full-time jobs. So and thank God for Cybersec Africa, there was an internship where I learned the practical skills to pair with my theoretical knowledge and was able to move forward in my career. I saw some of the tools that you use, and those are the tools that are actually being used by clients worldwide, both in Nigeria and abroad. And one of the things, as a matter of fact, one of the things that if you've seen a lot of job descriptions for cybersecurity, one of the things they usually add, there's more emphasis on tools and than on theoretical knowledge. Like they want to know, okay, what can you do? Have you used this particular tool before? So when you are graduating with, for example, certifications and all of those knowledge, it puts you, like I mentioned before, it puts you ahead of the competition because think about it, you're graduating with like maybe 100 other people, and all of you probably went through the same school, and all of you probably did well. Maybe not all of you did well, but all of you have graduated and you all have the same certificates, right? So what is going to put you ahead of the competition is going to be what extra knowledge can you bring to the table? What certifications do you have? What tools have you used with? What is your experience with those tools? How good are you with those tools? What are your interests? One of the things that they do these days, especially recruiters, is they go to your LinkedIn profile and they go through your certifications and see, okay, what has this person done so far in his career? So apart from, so like you said, you were lucky enough to go through a graduate training programs. Not everybody is going to be fortunate to get access to a graduate training program, right? So you have to find, like, you have to try different ways and make sure that, yes, when you are being compared to other people who are applying for the same jobs as you, you have something that puts you ahead. Because as a matter of fact, like I said, there's a skill shortage. But if you think you are skilled, there are usually like 10 or 15 more people who have done more than you. So it's an ongoing, as a matter of fact, even 5 years into my career, I am still learning. I am still picking up new tools, putting myself to work, to learn new tools, to learn new skills, to ensure that I don't become left behind. You understand? So yeah, so like you just to go back to your question, yes, it's very, very important to have experience with tools and technology and certifications while you are a student. It is going to put you way, way ahead of your peers. And when you come out, you have something to offer, you have value to offer. When people are talking theory, you would have practical examples. One of the things that recruiters look out for in interviews is practical examples. Apart from, oh, I learned this in school. What have you done? What was the result? They usually ask questions like, when was the last time you made a mistake that cost your company something? Like, those are questions that you cannot answer without some sort of practical experience. So yeah, it's really puts you ahead of the competition, and it's really useful for starting your career quicker.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Okwenime Oniagbi. It's been a very incisive session with you. We will be moving straight now to the presentation session. I'm sure you might want to leave or you want to hang around to see the presentation, then be around for the question and answer session, because there's a question and answer session to the parents. We'll do a brief Think Cyber training presentation. Then after then, we'll now move into a question and answer session. Now, for those who are just joining again one more time, Okwenime Oniagbi joining us from Finland. Like every student, he went to Futmina, actually did his intern with Cybersec Africa, which the CTO was here with us. He has been able to build an admirable career working for what? A company in Europe called Wazoo, which is one of the vendors. And I'm sure he has told us indirectly that he keeps about 3,000 euros in his pockets and monthly, at least that. So because from his profile, he's not a junior engineer. He has worked in and works with, he's keeping 3,000 euros and 6,500 euros actually monthly. Now, like I was saying, it's every parent's joy to have their children push very far. Now, what I've noticed in Nigeria is for anything to work, somebody has to do a sacrifice. I get the CISOs calling me, Michael, we have this position open. Why don't you come and take up this position and actually start a career? We have the position. But I see potentials. I see that Africa can be turned into a hub where these children sit at home and they are working for European companies and are earning dollars. And we have a company which is doing this big thing, and we need to actually spread the gospel of cybersecurity across the university. So I'll share my screen briefly and do just a brief technical presentation of what Think Cyber does. Then we can now actually go into the question and answer session. Just 1 minute. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you all can see my screen. So I want us to actually thank Mr. Okwenime for creating time to actually join us. It was not very easy getting him here. Like I said, this is the first time I'm seeing his face. For security reasons, I'm sure he had the security reasons. So what he does is he responds to what, let me just show you how, I'm sure he responds to technical escalations from different parts of the world for Wazoo. So I was online trying to actually resolve a particular, I was actually doing a training. So he was the one who actually answered it. So I was so impressed that a Nigerian is actually here handling escalation in the midst of Europeans. So we got talking, and the rest is history. As you can see, all these are escalations. All these things you see, what happened to an agent. So this is Wazoo aggregation. So this is where I actually met him. I was the one who actually treated this escalation when we're having issues with the particular tool. 1 minute. So this is our platform. Think Cyber is actually a global cybersecurity training platform. We have a simulator in Africa. It's being used by brands like CyberSoc Africa to build capacity for the what? Banks and the rest. Now, what do we do? What is this mission all about? It's not new. It is not new that there is a high skill gap need. He laid emphasis on skill gap, not people. So there is a need to keep raising the bar of the quality of the training so that students can hit the ground running. Now, how do we get them? Now, it is very easy to actually form. Those days, I was the trainer and build a child and mend the adult. That was what they call that program in the Assemblies of God Church. So it's very easy when these children are still in the university to actually form them to what? Because the ones we deal with, the trainings we do after university, we notice that the working class people struggle a lot. While they have families, they have all their other things. So arming them with this arsenal while they're still in university, we actually give them what it's like a rocket. You give them a rocket to fly with. They will just take off and off they go. Now, what is in the simulator that makes it different? Now, it has a lab, it has books, it has videos, it has scenarios, it has projects. Now, Mr. Okwenime can testify this in. As you move higher, what you really need is what? Face-to-face experience exchange. So maybe you leave senior level, you now want to take a higher course. You need to actually be in front of somebody who has done that thing over and over again for it to easily sink. You take a training, you meet somebody. So that is what we have. We have labs created from what? Our Spectre tool. We have books, we have videos, we have scenarios, then we have projects. So they do projects at what? Module level. Now, this is what the lab looks like. It is customized. The students have access to it 24/7 for a whole year. Now, we looked at how best should we integrate this into the session. Now, during the year 3, for the 400 levels parents who are here, they can take it as they are graduating, so that as they are graduating, they actually do what? They already have something to actually move on with immediately, not wait to actually align themselves into the industry. It's customized. This is the lab access. Now, if you move forward, we have what? The labs. In all these labs are questions in which you can answer and actually gain capacity. As you move on, we have book access. So there is a book for them to read, to understand. Most importantly, we have videos. So we have videos recorded by experts where they can actually watch these particular videos. Then lastly, we have scenarios. Now, these scenarios are not just ordinary scenarios. Now, because of the high demand, we are upgrading the quality of the scenario. Now, we have our own spectrum, EDR spectrum. I will just show you one. so that you see what it means. So the students now can generate scenarios on demand. So this is actually our a threat map. So we have our own threat map from as you can see, it's an AI tool called what? As you can see, all these things are real life attacks happening in these countries. So we have a tool like this where we generate scenarios from. Now, the way we are upgrading the quality of the training, students can now generate this scenario on demand and solve it so that they can be used towards recent and updated threats. As you can see, industry top targeted, education, communication, and government. So if I come back to the presentation, that is how we generate our own scenarios. So the questions you are answering is that they are not fictions. So that is how they are going to actually improve. Now we have, after doing the scenarios, the scores. In marking them, this is what the scores looks like. The students actually have access to actually now, parents can look at what exactly is my child scoring. What exactly I score? You can have access to it. You can look at it, see the way is actually faring. Now, lastly, we have projects at each level, at each module level. Now, we have project at each module level. Now, the whole process of this training is actually a certification process. So we expect them to score 80 over 100. Now, they can always go back in the whole process. So they are coming out certified in 3 aspects: penetration testing, SOC analysis, and Windows forensics. So that's actually the training we go to the school, we pitch it to the students, we actually have a parents meetup session so that we can enlighten, where you meet with industry experts. So it's very obvious.
6:54. Since when? I just saw it here.
Sorry. So we have a platform where we pitch the students, then here we talk to the parents. Now, we bring in the industry so that you can know that we understand the market very well, not that we are hyping our product. Now, the reality is that cyber simulator training is expensive. It's a simulator. It is expensive. What Yannick did not talk about, I wanted to talk about before he leave. They have this model where he can train you and deduct the money. I don't know how they do it as you actually work for them. But as you can see, their hands are tied. They can't do it for everybody. Now, it is not our fault. I'm not sure I'm privileged to show you this, but we actually, let me see if I can just screenshot so that you can see it. Now, this is the cheapest we have done. Okay. As you can see, this is a training for 4 people. It's about $20,000. It's still a simulator training. This is the cheapest we have done in the Nigerian market. It's just because it's a mission to empower the school. Simulator is actually a very expensive form of training. However, for the Nigerian University, African University mission, we have actually brought it down to the barest minimum. And it's not our fault. It's a dollarized training that the naira is falling. As at just in September, it was 650, including VAT. That's the cost of the training. Before we could say Jack Robinson, the dollar starts dropping. It was $650,000 naira, which is the cost of the training is just $675. It is paid in dollars. So when you change 650 equivalent, it's actually you get that. But now we now started telling parents to pay in dollars so that we don't have back and forth. What is actually the return on investment? Let's go there. You give your child the opportunity to hit the ground running. As you can see, even as from our own side, they earn more than that. They earn up to 700,000 naira salary per annum. So we looked at what we actually in the giveaway package, what would be your proposed first salary? Invest it into a training. That was what we did. So I will take a pause here. And actually, so we are starting a session by January. And all this presentation is to actually let the parents know, one, the return on investment, the level of demand for the particular home and abroad, not only in Nigeria. As you can see, we have guys who we can always reach out to for openings and send competent hands there to work for. So we have a good network of professionals, and we keep building, and we keep training ourselves so that we remain what? We remain, the man that just left, he has the mastery of what? The cyber threat terrain in Africa in his head. So what I did not say, he has actually volunteered to be one of the resource people in this training. So you can imagine the wealth of knowledge the students will be getting. That's Yaniv. Of course, we have Okpenime who can always come in at a point in time to share his word. So we have everything to actually make their onboarding success from day one. So I will pause here and wait to ask if there is any question from the parents who wants to have question. I'm sure Professor Idowu just joined in. He went off for a while because of his connectivity. So we have gotten to the question and answer time. Cost of training is $675. We are starting one in January. Parents have the opportunity to start. We are starting the pre-simulator training November 1st. We should have started, but they were writing the exam. They can register. All they need to do is, with your consent, send in what their, for those in 300 level, their internship letter to us. Those who have done internship and they want to take a training, just send us a letter that you want to actually take a training to us. We send you an offer letter. We speak to the parent. He has a consent. He starts this pre-simulator training. From now till second week of December, you have the luxury to actually take your time and make your payment because of the price in dollars. So that is actually why we're having this session, so that parents will see the advantage. Now, and it's not only here. I think the first thing I need to do is to share the cybersecurity clinic project in US, and I can share for those who want to actually apply for their children. I can share the Google Doc link so that they can actually sign up, so that we can reach out to both them and their parents. So that is what the training really is all about. That is what we actually call this session, for you to understand that exposing. It has gone beyond the stage where you wait for them to graduate. Expose them early to this thing, so that while they leave the school, they get the answer. Now, with the introduction of the clinic project, they would have been practicing in the university at the clinic before they now finally graduate. Because I'm sure we'll do one clinic next year. I will normally do job fair for the graduating students. So I will pause here if there are any questions so that I can respond to them. Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof. Sir, are you there? You might want to actually add one or two things, because the questions will start. Hello, please, parents, if you have any question regarding the training, and maybe you want to ask any question, we're actually here to answer your questions. Hello, Prof. Please, you want to say something? Okay. In the absence of no question, I would like to reiterate the training procedure. So we are actually starting. This is the second time we're actually meeting with the parents. We'll continue bringing people in the industry, at least from now to start up, so that by the time we actually start with the pre-simulator, a lot of parents will actually understand what we're doing. Now, we actually are starting January, and it's a simulator training like I've demonstrated. This is what the simulator looks like. This is the simulator. So you log in with your username and your password. So that's the credential. Okay, people have questions. Let me attend to the questions, please. So please, You can ask your question.
Yes, can I come in now? I thought we were going to call
You
names,
can come
but
in, please.
they didn't call. I already raised my hand. Okay, yeah, good afternoon. Thanks very much for this program, for this initiative. Very beautiful one. I would like to find out, for those in the final year, if they join, when will they have time to participate in the program? Because I think you made mention of those in third year who will be going for internship. We didn't hear anything about those in the final year, how they can benefit if they are interested. That is my question.
Okay, the simulator training is actually in the evening. Now, we're actually trying to get a balance. We do it Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Why? Because of the schedule of the students. It's always in the evening. Now, that is actually when we have the tutorials, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Now, that is actually the main simulator training. Now, for those coming for industrial training, they actually resume virtually 9 a.m. to 3:45 or 4 p.m. We give them 1 day break in the week. So for the 300 level, it's a combo. The industrial training plus what? The simulator training, so that they can be properly grounded. Now, for the final year students, they actually take the simulator training in the evening, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. That's actually when they take the training. They have access to the simulator, they solve the problems. So Thursday we meet on tutorials, Friday, then Sunday. Now, we are actually how I put it, the team is looking on how to shorten it, but not for this audience. These are students. They need time to absorb it into their system. For the working class, we're looking at shortening the training to 3 months or 4 months. But we've actually tested it over and over again, and we've seen that the ideal time is, 6 months to what? 9 months to 6 months. So I don't know, is it Mr. Uche Ubokwe I'm talking to? I'm seeing the hands raised. 3 hands are raised. Is it Mr. Uche Ubokwe that has this question?
No, it's not me.
It's what? It's
It's
Mr. Mad.
No,
Okay.
not Mr.
Madu Gucci.
Not Mr. Uche.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Oladipo Dari Ebe. I don't know, maybe Mr. Madua Gucci Auzo. I don't know if I've answered your question. So for the final year students, they can take part of the training. Their session is in the evening. They have access to the simulator. Everything is online, both the live session and for the industrial training, they resume in the morning. We have their audience for 6 months. So, but they're actually having the benefit of doing it as a combo so that they don't waste time. They actually just get a well-rounded knowledge at what both the internship and the simulator. So I don't know if I've answered your question, Mr. Madua Buchi Auzo.
No, it was Mubolaji that asked the question, not Mr. Madua Buchi.
Okay, it was Mr. Bolaji. Okay, sorry. Have I answered?
Yes, can you hear me? Yes,
I can hear you.
You have answered my question, but not, it wasn't Mr. Madua that answered the question. I'm saying it's Mubolaji Ayola.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry for the mix-up, please. So, Mr. Oladipo Dari Abel, you want to ask us a question?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the explanatory and the lovely sessions you've had with us and all the resource persons. We really appreciate them. I want to ask, for those on IT, the cyber with you.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Is it also 675, or you have a way of deducting from if you have any stipend for them?
Okay, now the sideways, they do it from home. They don't actually come down to our office. They report in our office 1 week. That is if they're in Lagos. Now, that reporting in our office, we actually just try to actually see so that we can have a touch with them. Now, it's still the same price. You don't collect money for sideways. So what they achieve is actually the main simulator training. So we are doing the sideways to them as a what? Add-on and bonus. we are not deducting, there's no addition, the cost is fixed. Even when those who paid 650, and as at the time we cannot send money, the price is reducing, we cannot go back to them and ask them to make payments, more payments. It's actually, we converted it to dollars and actually just left it that way. So the price is fixed, it's $675.
Okay, I think that's clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Uche Igbokwe, I don't know if you have a question for us, sir.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So my question is regarding a student who is going for IT next year, as in January. So what are the plans for someone who is going for IT in January? Is there a timeline for having the training between now and December, or can they have the training concurrently with their IT?
Okay, just 1 minute. Now, normally we ask them to do their IT with us. Now, those who actually don't want to do, they are free to actually join and don't do that's what the 400 level guy was asking. So for us, the IT is an add-on, like a free add-on. So it does the simulator in the evening. Then from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., they do the what? The IT session. Sorry, they do the IT session.
Mr. Michael, let me add to that. Mr. Michael.
Okay, sir.
Now, this is from School of Computing. The opportunity we are providing for the students, we have these two scenarios or these two situations. Those who are doing their IT somewhere else, they have the opportunity of doing this training. At the same time, if you choose to do your IT with Think Cyber, we have this opportunity too. So we have the two provisions for the students who are doing IT. And we are just trying to optimize or maximize the opportunities for the students. Now, this IT is from January to June, 6 months. Now, and that is why we shift or we plan that the training should start from January. So once they finish that 6 months, with the schedule of the training and the tutorial and the practice, they will have time to, by the time they will come back, resume school, they will have time to continue the training. And in the next 6 months, they will finish with the 3 certifications. So that will actually prepare them for the market. We don't encourage those in lower level to do it because we don't want time to elapse between the training and the time they will get fixed up. And one of the reasons why we decide to partner with Think Cyber is the onboarding to potential employers, and not only in Nigeria, but outside Nigeria. We have looked at all of these opportunities, and we think that it is good to expose our students to this type of provisions so that they can get hooked up to labor markets and then get good job, not only in Nigeria, as I said, in Europe or UK. So we have looked at all of this very well, and then we think that yes, this would be a good avenue for our students to make the future bright for our students and of course our parents. So that is why the School of Computing, Babcock University, is getting into this engagement with Think Cyber. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sunday.
So I don't know, Mr. I don't know if that answered your question, sir.
No, it doesn't answer the question. Like,
oh, maybe I didn't get that question. Sorry.
Okay, can you
repeat
the question?
You said, say I have my ward wants to have an IT somewhere else, and he works 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. What time does he have to also do the training with you if he doesn't want to do the IT in your place?
Okay.
That was the question.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, let me leave that for... Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. One, the training starts from 7 p.m. to like 9 p.m. and it's only Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. That's the simulator tutorial. Now, you know, they have the videos, they have the books, they have everything. Now, we do tutorials so that we help them catch up faster. So in the evening, now, like your son does 9 to 5 p.m., the other one doing IT with us, they do their 9 to 3 p.m. here. Then in the evening, they actually join the training. That is actually how we do that.
Okay, okay.
So I don't know if that, so you can join in the evening.
Okay,
So
I get you.
I want to react to this question. Then from
excuse me, Icom? Excuse me,
yeah.
Icom?
Okay, yeah.
I must leave, but I would like to say thank you. I'm honored to meet the parents, and I hope your children join Think Cyber, because as Icom said, we are global, and once you train with Think Cyber, you become part of the Think Cyber family, which is global, and you will be able to have your children not only expand their work and their career in Nigeria and maybe other countries in Africa, but globally, Europe, Asia, the United States. So again, I want to thank you very much for having me. It's been an honor to meet you, parents, and hopefully we will be able to see your kids join the Think Cyber family. Thank you, and again, thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ron. Then we have Mr. Daisy Alabi actually raising his hand. Then Mr. Bamidele Ayodele. So we take Mr. Daisy Alabi's question.
Thank you very much, sir. Part of my question has been answered, which is how the 400 level students can key into this program. Just one issue I want to ask is the payment of $675. Is it must it be one-off payment, or can it be done maybe over two or yes?
Okay, the way we did it, the training is starting in January. The way we did it, we are still in October, is that parents who are interested can tell their student to join. So they take their time to make a one-time payment from now till second week in December. So you don't need to pay immediately. However, once you have committed, you need to make payment. Once you have started receiving pre-simulator training, you are actually committed to make payment. So that's how we do it, sir. So that you don't stress yourself. So you can take your time to actually gather the money from now, second week.
Thank you very much.
Okay, do we, Mr. Bamidele Ayodele, Mr. Ayo Ige, Mr. Ayo Ige Bola, sorry, 1 minute. Can we mute, please? Okay, Mr. Bola Adeyemo, I don't know if you actually have a question, but I'm seeing Mr. Ayo Ige. Do you have a question for us?
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Hear you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. Sorry, my question partly has been answered, but for 400 level students, okay, I was asking when is the simulator training starting for them? And also, the payments has to be made before January.
The latest you can make the payment. Latest you can make the payment is second week in December, before December 13th.
The full payment of $675.
Yes, before December 13th. However, they are starting a pre-simulator training November 1st, just next week. November 2nd, sorry, just next week. So they start getting used to it. Then simulator training starts January. So they start getting used to it. Then
okay, cool. Let me clarify. Is the simulator training starting January? So which one are they starting November?
Okay, we have pre-simulator training where they will not be exposed to the simulator. They come with their laptop. We have at the same time so that we can get them accustomed to that timeline. Do you get it? So they come at that time. They actually onboard their laptop. They've already installed the softwares they need to work and all those stuff. So by January, we move all of them to the simulator. So they start the proper simulator training in January.
All right. So the $675 includes both the training and certification exam.
Everything. Everything.
Everything.
Includes both training and certification exam. I don't know if you were here when our guests were talking. So
okay, I joined late. I joined a bit late.
We will share this video recording so that you can hear them.
Okay, that's
building a product development, tech product development. It would be madness developing one without having taken into cognizance the economy of Nigeria. So when people come to ask for certification, there's no certification that is making sense that is currently below $1,500. So now tell me, how will the person afford it? A training and a certification is very expensive. So the best thing for them to do, start with a training like this, get the knowledge, start working. Then when you are working, you are responsible enough. Normally, some of the banks tell you to write one certification in 3 months. So they are the one who mandate you. But as you can see, what they said is they want to know what you can do. That is actually what where we have. So that's what makes us different. That is how we give soft landing to the Nigerian market. Left for me, like, I don't know, I've shared the video. One thing I actually take back that make me reminisce over and over again. There was a lady who came to us, she read finance. And she said, does this particular training require mathematics? I said, no. But I saw the passion in her. She finished from Ipenedium. She's currently working for First Bank as a cyber threat. They moved her from a less complicated department to a more complicated department. But when she was giving her testimony, that smile on her face, that is what we want to put on the face of people, like return on investment. Because ordinarily, we shrink the profit of the training to the barest minimum so that it can be affordable. But against all odds, we cannot control the dollar. It was supposed to be less than 650. But because the dollar is continuously falling, so that it's something that everybody wants to jump on. We are still looking at ways where we could bring in some model that instead of actually making people to pay, but that will be implemented next year, some big guys just pick up the bill for everybody. But for this particular time, we are working on it. We don't know how successful that will be. But for this time, parents who want to give their children the necessary push they need to move can actually take advantage of this training. Take advantage of this training and actually give their children the needed push ahead they need. So I don't know if we have any other question. I'm trying to actually share the link in the chat. But
okay, that will be fine for some of us that joined late here. Thank you.
Okay, I want to share the.
Hello?
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 Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I've been listening to the conversation, and it's very interesting. But what are the measuring yardsticks you use to measure the performance of the student? Whether they are measured up, they can face the market at appropriate time if they go for intern.
Okay, let me answer that question technically. Now, we do scenarios. Now, you know, this particular training is hands-on. You see this place, achievement required, 85% and above in each program. Now, that is what we use to certify them. Now, let's come back to scenarios. You see these scenarios, it's an AI that scores them when they are doing. Let me try to enlarge it so that you can actually, it's an AI that actually does the marking. Now, the difference between this and the regular exam is that you get to see their scores. Are you seeing all this? These are scores. Now,
yes,
okay, good. Now, you know the ones who are performing well by this score, but we don't allow it to get to this stage. It's hands-on. The more they're able to practice, the more professional they become. That is why they have access to the platform all through 1 year. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. So they have access to the platform for all through 1 year. They have access to the platform all through 1 year. For a whole year, they have access to the platform. So that is actually how we measure. Now, at the end, you as a parent, you can request, can I see the performance of my son in this platform for the first 1 month that they've taken. We send a report to you. You can always log in and look at it. Look at what your investment. So, and we don't let, like I said, we don't let it get to that stage. You know, where it's 300, about 300, 250 to 300. So we break them down into groups. One of the things they will build, skills they will build is what? Technical presentation skill. Most of people, students are shy. They don't know how to communicate their skill sets. Do you get it? They don't know how to talk about what they know. So we had that problem with interviews, even with Yaniv. As you can see, Yaniv knows what he wants. So if you don't have what he wants, it's not going to employ you. So that will be treated at each module. They will present their projects to their colleague. There they are building what? Technical presentation skills and ability to actually communicate their profession properly and professionally, even while still in school, so that when they are talking technology, you know, yes, this guy knows what. So when they get to an interview after that, they will don't sit. Adding to that, we are adding cybersecurity clinic to what they will be doing. Okay, Mr. James Peter is just coming in. We'll be adding cybersecurity clinic to what they'll be doing on campus. That exposes them to more practical. So cybersecurity clinic will actually, I don't know why I'm unable to actually send a message to everybody. Sorry, let me see. Okay, all right, that's fine. So I'll give her the numbers, we'll share it to everybody. So what you can do for us is maybe you just drop your phone number or your contact so that we can actually be able to contact you. But I'm trying to actually send in contact. I don't know why it's actually not going through to the chat. So I don't know if I've answered your question, Mr. Ademoyo. So Mr. James Peter said, how much is the training? It's $675, sir. That's the cost.
Hello?
Yeah.
Are you going to send the performance of our kids to us?
Yeah, you can request for it monthly, and you can even tell them that you log in into their platform. He has access to it, so you can log into it and see the performance. You can request for it on a monthly basis, or we can make it a must that you get a monthly report on their performance monthly.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So Mr. James Peter, I've actually answered your question also.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you very much. Still on 400 levels students, okay, you know, they have, from January, they have less than, say, 6 months to round up their program. But I heard you that you said this training program can last for a year. So does it mean that after their program in the school, they can still have access to it? Or is there any clarification to that?
Now, from January to next year, January, from 2024 to 2025, they will have access to the technology platform. Now, we intend doing a job fair for them October 2025. Like the end of this now, we should be doing a job fair. They should have finished the training and be ready for the job market. Those are the ones in 400 level. The ones in 300 level would have finished. They will come back and actually fall back to what? School clinic, so that they can gain how I put it, hands-on within this. But the ones in 400 level, as they're actually graduating, they're actually ready for the job market. So communication they'll be having with their company, okay, I am already working, but I can do my NYC, because in this field, they don't, what they want is the skill, as you heard from the guy in Europe. So I don't know if I have answered that question, sir. So normally we can give them access to the platform for like 18 months. Even when they are finished, they still have access to it for continuous training. So that's part of how we sustain the knowledge in them.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
So in the absence of no question,
I raise my hand.
Okay,
Mr.
Shegun Odesanya.
Odesanya.
So sorry for the pronunciation. Please, you can ask your question.
And then Miss Madam Omonsusi.
Yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Mr. Michael, look at Madam
Omonsusi
and Mr. Odesanya.
My name is Odesanya. My question is that as the 300 level student will be going on, starting their this in January, their IT program. You know, they'll be engaged at their IT place maybe from 9 to 5 or so. Then what time is the simulator training taking place during this January to June exercise? That's my first question. Are we together?
Yes,
hello.
If I can
I can hear you, sir.
that,
I can hear you. I am with you. I can hear you.
Yeah, that's my first question. Then the second question is that at the end of the 6 months, when will they be through with the simulators program? How many certification would they have acquired within that 6 months? Is it just the simulator or the additional certification that they will have gotten during the 6 months exercise? Those are my two questions for now.
Okay, sir. Mr. Odesanya. Now, the SciWest does not actually give anybody certification. However, it's a 6 unit point course with the university. So the students can actually get an A, at worst case a B, with the way we will train them to present what they have known. Now, professionally, I and above the university, when they come out, they have 3 certifications. And why we bring in those guys, so that what we are telling you, it should not be just hearsay. You hear from experts who are already practicing. Now, they become certified penetration testers. We call them the red team. Certified SOC analyst, the blue team. Now, certified Windows forensic, purple team. Now, one person does not work in these 3 positions at once. Why we train them like that is so that their capacity to get job will be faster, because they become a utility employee who can work from one department to the other department. So 3 certifications: certified penetration tester, red team; certified SOC analyst, blue team; certified Windows forensic, purple team. I don't know if I've answered your question, sir. So during that 6 months, they're actually not getting any certification. It's a SciWest program. They are aiming to get A in their what? So the way we package it, and which the school has endorsed, they will be able to present different skill sets. And at that stage, they started demonstrating world-class skill that I'm sure that anybody grading, they will say, these ones are the next Bill Gates we are already building from this school. Why I don't talk like this, so that it doesn't look as if, because apart from being a tech person, as you can see, most of my colleagues, you see, they are in the core technical department. I wear a double hat of tech sales. I'm a salesman. So that it doesn't look as if I'm just trying to actually whitewash people and sell a product. That is why we bring them in. So I'm trying to get to the end.
Let me add to that. Mr. Michael.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me add to that. For the students on IT, the IT in Babcock is 6 months, January to June.
Good.
Now, at the end of the IT unit will expect reports. And as a matter of fact, they will do seminar where, in fact, it's a whole day seminar where they will present report of what they have done, and they'll be graded. And that is where whether we'll get A, B, or whatever will come in. As I say, it's a 6 credit course. Now, from experience, we observe that some students that claim to go for IT, they will go and do this in a roadside business center, and they were talking about word processing, Photoshop, and Excel. We don't expect our students going for IT to be talking about Excel, words, and all of that. We are looking at core IT experience. So that's why they will do presentation and they will be graded. The 6 months is not for the certification, as has been said, but we will get reports which will grade, and then that will determine their grade. for that course. It's a course. Now, after they return from IT, they have 6 more months to continue with their training. And by the staggering of the training, they have enough time because when they come back, they will, from IT, their first semester of year 4, they will start in September, and by December, they will finish. So looking at March, April, they will be finishing the whole training. And by the time they will be finishing they will be graduating. April, May, they will be graduating and ready for those who want to serve, they continue and all that. So we study their calendar, and we're trying to make sure that they are not in disadvantage in any way. So that is the arrangement for those who are doing IT.
Okay,
thank you, sir. Thank you,
okay. I don't know if we've answered. Then there is Mrs. Omozuzi. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name very well.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, good afternoon, madam.
Thank you for this time. Thank you for this opportunity. I think some of the questions that I wanted to ask have actually been answered. I just want some level of clarification, because I think I heard you say something like, basically for certifications, they're usually very expensive, and some of them cost as high as $1,500. And you also said something like, well, basically what the simulator training is for these children to get this training so that they're equipped with this set of skills. And perhaps when they start to work with some of these skills, then they can now get certified. So I'm really not very clear about that. Are you saying they're not going to get certified? This is just the training thing. I'm talking about the simulator training, the level of certification you talked about, or are they going to get certified, which is something they can use perhaps when they're looking for work or something? I really want clarification on that, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, madam. And thanks for the question. Somebody, Mrs. Nikki, asked, what's the payment method? Okay, so now cybersecurity is actually a vendor agnostic field. Now the certification has actually
would
been,
you want to?
Yeah, I'm actually addressing your question. Now, it's a vendor agnostic field. Now, in this part of the world, there are some certifications that are actually very loud, like a certified ethical hacker. Now, people who have what CSSIP, certified CISO, and all the rest of them. Now, Think Cyber is also a certifying body. We have our own line of certification. Likewise, as Fortinet has its own line of certification, ISC has its own line of certification. Now, what I said is the whole process of writing this simulator is actually a certification process. Now, at this level, at their level, now there are different layers. Sorry.
We can't hear you, sir.
Sorry, yeah, I think the internet glitched a little bit. There are different layers now. Here we have layer 1, those are entry level. We have layer 2, which is mid-entry level. Layer 3, which is what? Subject matter experts. Now, at layer 2, when they are coming in, Think Cyber certification is enough to get them into those jobs. Now, moving from layer 2 to layer 3, there are other certifications they need to write, like if they are actually becoming a red team. Now, I believe they are engineers here. Now, in certification, we have vendors, we have just certification body. Now, the guy who showed from Finland is working for Wazoo. Wazoo has its own line of certification, which is in this part of the world, you not even hear about it. So the first step forward, we give them a certification that will get them into the job. Now, when they start eating the nitty-gritty, maybe they become a core red team people. They will now start writing senior certification in that direction. That is what I mean. That is what I mean. Now, the whole process is actually a certification process. That is why you need to score above 85. We actually ensure that the pass rate is actually very high. I don't know if I've answered your question. Now, when they want to start writing higher, like CSS, ISP, they have funds to write those kind of certification, or they want to write a CISO certification, they have funds to write all those certifications. Let me just show an example of what it is, and the standardization is doing that anywhere they tender it in the world, it is actually what tenable. So so this is what it looks like. This is for network research. As you can see, Siberium approved. Now, it is the acceptance of the certification that actually matters. Now, with what a proper ability to properly demonstrate what the capability attached to the certification. That is why, not just above just a certification, we create a scenario where the interviewers can actually have access to their performance on the Siberium arena and view it in real time. What I mean is this, that I don't have, I'm not sure it was updated here. So if you are a recruiter and you tell me, oh, this is your certificate, can I view your performance in the Siberium arena? We have a place in the Siberium arena where they can view the performance, and it shows them all their score and everything, evidence of their performance. So they will call it progress tracker. So the parent asking, you can always go to the progress tracker session and see what your son or daughter has been doing for the while, even when he has passed out. Recruiters have access to it. Why? Because we have been facing backlashes from European companies trying to employ. Once it's in Nigeria, so we now upgraded where they can personally do their own verification without even contacting what the person applicant.